Here's how you can generate images and stop motion animations using the Ideogram model with After Effects and ComfyUI. Ideogram is an open source text-to-image model that's free to use and very capable at generating text. What makes it different from other models is that it takes very structured prompts and bounding boxes. With the bounding boxes, we can assign where in the frame we want different elements to be generated. So with this After Effects script panel, we can use shape layers with keyframes to feed the elements and the bounding boxes. Okay, so the first step, we'll open ComfyUI and we'll open a new desktop environment. You can download ComfyUI from the link in the description. It's an open source platform where you can run models either in the cloud or download them locally on your computer. As soon as it's open, go to the templates and search for Ideogram. Select the version for text to image, not the API version. The API version runs on the cloud. We want the version that runs locally on your machine. If you're running this for the first time, it's going to say that the model is missing, and it's going to prompt you to download it. As soon as you download it, all the nodes should appear like this. Here you can see the structure prompt that Ideogram takes. We'll use the After Effects panel to assemble all these elements from text layers and shapes. Now, to download the After Effects panel, go to the GitHub link in the description, scroll down, and you'll see under the assets, the After Effects ComfyUI Ideogram. Click it and download it. Before we install the panel, make sure to go to Edit, Preferences, Scripting and Expressions, and make sure Allow Scripts to Write Files and Access Network is enabled, and press OK. Now to install the script panel, go to File, Scripts, Install Script UI Panel, and select the file you downloaded. It's going to prompt you to restart, and after you do that, open the Ideogram panel demo project you downloaded. Okay, now inside the project there are 3 compositions. These are the compositions I used to create all the images in the intro of the video. Let's open Comp1 prompt. There are some text layers and a shape layer. We're going to use these text layers as part of the prompt, and the shape layers as bounding boxes to define what we want and where inside the frame. Let's open the panel, go to Window, and choose ComfyUI Ideogram. Now let's break it down each section. This is the ComfyUI connection, the host and the port used to connect and send the prompts from After Effects to ComfyUI. You don't need to change anything here. You can press the ping and it's going to return connected if ComfyUI is open. Now there are some quality settings here. For this model, the higher the steps, the better the quality, but the more time it's going to take. This is the megapixels. Again, the higher it is, the higher the resolution and the longer it's going to take to generate. And there are presets for the aspect ratio, so you don't need to type anything. Now we're going to assign each of these text layers into the correct section of the panel. So for the high-level description, we're going to use this. I'm going to select high-level description here. Now, if you generate only with this selected, you're still going to get a result. But if you want more detail and control, you can include all the below. So I'm going to take the include style description box. For aesthetic, I'm going to put the aesthetic text layer. For lighting, the lighting layer. And for the photo, the medium and the background. Now for the shape layer, I'm going to select layer 1. This has all these shapes as its contents. So you can keyframe each individual shape's size and position, or you can change the transform properties of the main layer, and all that information will be carried through for each separate bounding box. For the description of what each object is, the panel automatically takes the name of each shape inside the contents. But you can also change this setting and just type the description here. For this case, I'm just going to select the group name. You can also assign the color for each of these objects, and you can either take it from the fill inside each one, or select again from this option here and add swatches. But again, I'm just going to leave it on autofill. If you move around the composition and then hover over the panel, you will see the bounding boxes will refresh. Now for the generation section, if you select single image here and you hit generate, it's going to use the values where the time indicator is and generate a single image. You can also adjust the seed value and select from fixed, random, and increment. If you're going to generate every frame, I suggest you use the fixed seed so the generations are more coherent. If you select increment, you can set how many generations you want created with the same prompts. If you hit 2 and run with every frame, it's going to generate one image for each frame of this composition with the first seed. Then it's going to add the step value to the seed and generate them all over again with a new seed. But for this example, I will just use fixed. Here you can choose where on your computer the files are going to be stored. Keep in mind, ComfyUI saves the generated files in its own output folder and then copies them over to the folder you set here. And you can set the file prefix here and select the folder inside After Effects. So I'm going to create an assets folder and hit pick. Now, when I hit generate, let's go back to ComfyUI and turn on this panel, the log panel. You'll see it's got the prompt and it started to generate the image. How much time it takes will depend on how many steps you set, the megapixels you're generating, and how many frames. And of course, the graphics card of the machine you're running this on.
Eventually.
So when it finishes generating everything, the composition should look something like this. I'm going to select all the generated assets and just put them in a pre-comp. I'm going to move it under the shape layer. And when I press play, you can see it did follow the bounding boxes quite correctly. So this is the idea basically. I added some more graphics elements in After Effects, just duplicated the pre-comp layer and added some masks to make the text reveal. Now, the second example, comp2prompt, is basically the same thing, but it has one extra shape layer that I used to generate text. So I'm going to set up everything else in the panel in exactly the same way. High-level description including title, aesthetic, lighting, photo, medium, and background. Add the shape layer with all the sublayers. And I'm going to add the generate images layer. Now there are two ways to generate text with Ideogram. In this case, the text that needs to be generated needs to be in the description, in the prompt here. We want a massive 3D inflatable typography spelling generate images. And when you hit generate, the composition will look something like this. Again, I'm going to pre-comp all the generated images. As you can see, there were some frames that the text came outside the bounding box, but the majority did follow the guide. So I blended what we generated from the first example that had no text and I used it to have a clean intro. And this is the final result. Now the third example, comp3prompt, is a little bit different. It has multiple text layers for each part of the prompt. So in one composition, we can have different styles, different actions, different characters, and different objects. So for the high-level description, I'm going to pick layer 13, which is this one, that we want from the start up until 3 seconds. And from the 3rd second to the end, this text layer is going to be used as the high-level prompt. So I'm going to press the Add Layer button again and select the second high-level description. Same with the other parts here. With the aesthetic, each prompt is going to be used for the frames that each shape layer covers. So I'm going to press the Add Layer button and add all the 3 layers I have named aesthetic and do the same for lighting also. I didn't use photo or medium for this example, I just used background. You don't have to use all these parts, but you'll get different results with different details. Now I'm going to add all the shape layers like we did in the previous examples. Again, the shape layer will be sent to the prompt only for the duration of the shape layer. If it's not covering that particular frame, it's ignored. One thing to note about the shape layers is that whatever you want at the background goes first on the list of bounding boxes, and whatever in front comes last. You can reorder the shape layers with the arrow buttons in the panel. Now this example also shows the other way you can generate text with the ideogram. So you'll see the book shape layer, it has 2 shapes in the contents. One is the description of the whole object, the book, and the other one describes the typeface of the text that we want to generate. You'll note here that the text that's actually going to be written isn't mentioned. We have to add that in the panel. So to add the text, we find the book here in the panel, and instead of object, we're going to select text. And we're going to write here what we actually want to generate. So this will be the how-to text. And again, for the newspaper, you'll see in the content that this is the description of the font and this is the placement of just the text. They're both animated by the same shape layer. And here we're going to select text and we're going to type generate images. On the next part, this is the poster. This is the description of the font. We select text, which we'll type inside. And the last is poster 2. This one is using. And now with these settings, we hit generate.
Later.
As you can see, it's very capable at generating text and being accurate with the bounding boxes and the fonts. So again, I added a few more graphics the traditional way. You can check the Ideogram documentation for more info and see what prompts work and experiment with different kinds of animations or single image generations. So this is the idea. Let me know what you think, if this is useful, and like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.